breathing and I would get wheezes at the end of my exhales. And I'm like, that's not normal. Welcome into Gaining the Edge Health and Fitness. My name is Mike, and today we're going to talk about finding your why. Finding the reasons or reason why you decided to go on this lifestyle change, why you decided to lose this weight, and why you decided to stick to it. All these whys can be one or many. For me, it was many whys. Now, this video isn't scripted like I normally would go out of my way to do. I wanted to talk about just the reason behind the channel, the reason behind the changes, and the reason behind why I'm sticking to it this time around compared to any other time around I've tried. And the reason that I feel like having these whys can always remind you and just keep you going. And that is honestly part of it. Some of the reasons why I decided I needed to lose weight, and honestly, it probably took too long for me to realize this, but my lifestyle, my weight loss was long overdue. I had issues breathing. And what I mean by that is, like, I would lay in bed, and if I breathed out heavy enough, I would actually hear wheezes. I'm like, that's not normal. And for those who don't know, what I do for a living, I'm actually a first responder, firefighter, paramedic. So you would think with some experience, dealing with people at their worst, helping people out, seeing people with health issues would make you want to be healthier. You would think somebody with that profession would take health a little more serious. And it took me over 5 years on the job. Over 6 years on the job for me to finally get back to trying to be a healthier person. I've seen plenty of unhealthy people. I've dealt with a lot of unhealthy situations. You would think that that alone would have been enough of a reason why. And at times it was. But then I realized other people's issues weren't motivating me to find my own reasons why. So one of these things was laying in bed, just breathing, and I would get wheezes at the end of my exhales. And I'm like, that's not normal at all. Like that's never happened to me. I'm like, I just chalked it up to being like, okay, so I'm a little overweight and stuff. But then, like, as the pounds kind of piled on, I never thought I'd see 300 pounds, and then I surpassed it. The highest recorded weight I ever reached was 322, and I had a hard time getting out of bed, getting off chairs. I'd have to like use momentum, like lean back and sit up to get out of chairs. I had to hold my breath to bend over to put on socks. I had to bending over. And you see me looking down a lot. It's because I'm reflecting and rethinking about this stuff. Bending over was a chore in itself. I had to hold my breath to bend over to grab stuff. I would often ask my kids to grab something off the floor for me, but just because it was a burden. And that's ridiculous. Like, I shouldn't have ever let myself get there, but I did. And now I had to unlearn this, because now when I have to bend over for something, I look at it like it's super inconvenient. Like, oh my God, this is terrible. And I'm like, oh wait, not that hard to bend over anymore. Some of the other contributing factors into why I decided to change things up was the fact that I couldn't keep up with my kids. I've got 3 of them, and they're all different ages, and they all require different levels of activity to keep up. But I often didn't have the energy, didn't want to put in the time, didn't want to move around. I would even go as far as sitting on the couch and making excuses not to go outside and play with my kids. Not proud of that, but that was a real reality of what I was going through, because physically, mentally, emotionally, I was just tired, exhausted all the time. And that's part of it. When you're eating poorly, when you're not active, when you're not moving, you tend to fall into these really bad habits and really dark places, and it's hard to crawl out of them. And I had to realize, and that was just some of the stuff that really stuck out to me. I had to realize that was all stuff that I was in control of. I could change the outcome of all of that stuff. And coming to that realization really hit me. And the fact that I had to like use momentum to get myself out of bed, the fact that like my ankles, my knees, everything ached all the time. I hated this feeling. I couldn't keep up with my kids. And again, I'm stressing that because these are the whys. These are what remind me every day to continue and push forward and to continue to eat better, make better choices. Not to mention my kids are a reflection of me. My kids and I have a pretty strong bond, and they often mirror what I'll do. So when I go outside and work out, they come with me now. When I'm outside being active, they want to be involved, and they've always wanted to be. I never wanted to be. So I realized it was on me to fix these issues. It was on me to make these kids realize that this is the lifestyle they want to live, not that one. And obviously, being a healthier person as a whole should allow for me to be there long term for my family. And that was my why. Again, there are many reasons. I'm sure there's stuff I forgot to even talk about, but beyond the medical stuff, beyond the physical looks, beyond all that, my reason why was my kids and was wanting to be there for my family as a whole, long term. This whole journey has actually led me to not only finding this passion for fitness again, but it allowed me to realize that not only is it doable, but I'm not alone. This channel, the goal here is to help others in a similar situation. People that feel lost, that feel like they can't do it, but you're not alone. You're not the only person that's ever felt this way. You're not the only person that wants to make these changes and somehow can't. My goal is to try to help those who are or have been in a similar situation where I was when I started all this. I made a point to go ahead and get my certified personal training certificate, which I'm working on. I'm about 80% done with the classwork for it. It's through the NASM. So obviously, once I'm done with that coursework and I pass my exam, I'll be a certified personal trainer. I also have a nutrition coach and an online coach certificate I'm obtaining as well through them. I'm doing this more so as a hobby right now. Will something come of it beyond that? Maybe. But my goal is to honestly take this information and do as much as I can on this channel to help others. And that's why this channel is so focused on beginners, and that this channel is fitness with the beginner in mind, fitness and health, I should say, with the beginner in mind, because I honestly think that the hardest part about all this is beginning. Because once you're on track, you can go down so many different rabbit holes in the direction you want to go. And because of that, it's easier to get the information you're seeking down the line. But sometimes starting is the hardest. And a lot of these people you find, which great information out there. It's just hard to decipher what's for beginners and what's not. And my goal is to really cater to those trying to get started. So if you made it this far, you can understand what I've been through, you can understand what I'm going through, and you understand what I'm trying to do to help not only myself, but others, and help you, the viewer, get going on that journey. Consider liking and subscribing, commenting, help get this video out and around, because what it'll do is it'll help grow the page, and through it, then obviously I can just keep getting it to other people with a similar mindset. If you have ideas that you want covered, or topics you want covered, I should say, comment them below and I'll get to them. Thanks as always, and we'll talk next week.